Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be playing around with some collage images and trying to colour match on my page. So I'm starting on this very used page in my book and just covering over all the stuff I've got in the background. So starting off with quite dark colours. This is a colour scheme I don't use very often, so actually starting off with some eggplant and purples and mixing in some paler colours just to give sort of that opaque base background to my page, basically to cover up all the Posca pen and font that I was putting in the background. I was teaching people how to do handwriting, so that's what that was in the background. Now I'm going in with some lighter colour again, just to lighten up that back. So purple isn't a colour I use very often in my artwork, but I do like it. I just don't know how to use it very effectively. So I was sort of trying to push my boat out a little bit, trying a few different things. I then went back to my tried and true, which is putting in some marine. It's one of my favourite colours. It's a great neutral dark colour, and it's really good at sort of, not hiding, but muting down. It's probably the wrong word too, but just adding darkness onto the page, which I like. So it sort of blends together really nicely. Now I'm going over and doing a bit of a ghosting technique. So I'm going to be rubbing away most of this light paint. While it's still wet, I've got my stencil that I'm just putting down, and with a wet wipe I'm wiping away the excess paint. So it looks a bit scary when you're putting all the paint on to begin with, but remembering that most of it is going to be removed and you're still going to see that background. Because it was quite chunky, I actually went in with a wet wipe and removed little bits and pieces as well, just to give it a little bit more of a broken effect on my page. Which I liked. The good thing about using acrylic paint on acrylic paint is until it's actually dry, you've got that moment that you can remove things, which is really, really handy. I do tend to work quite quickly. A lot of people ask me, oh, my ghosting technique's not working. It's probably because you're actually moving a little slowly with it, and the paint's drying on your page. So if you do find it's difficult to remove, just rub a little bit harder. But try and work fairly quickly. If you're trying to remove paint using your wet wipes, you do want to do it while it's still wet. As with all good things, acrylic paint, when it's dry, it is permanent. So then just in the background, added in a little bit more stenciling, and I also splashed on some gold acrylic gloss spray, just to give a little bit of texture in the background. So this is the image that I wanted to use. It's an image from an Australian company, which unfortunately has since retired, called Scrap FX. It's a beautiful image. It's actually a French graffiti artist, I think. It's an image of one of their paintings, so you may be able to find images similar to this on the internet. So I'm just pasting it down, and then with not gloss spray, gel medium, mine's away with me, and then I'm adding on a body shape down the bottom, again trying to kind of match the colours. So this is sort of really moody. It's got those sort of purpley tones to it, it's got the blue tones to it, so I'm trying to sort of just match it up a little bit. I also just wanted to I didn't want the body to be completely solid. The face itself is actually just made up of some beautiful chunky brush strokes, so it's sort of got that broken effect to it. So I wanted the body to kind of have that same broken effect. I'm just going with my Stabilo oil pencil too, just to highlight some of the more defined parts of the face. And with the body, going in and putting in some more pinks just to boost the colour up again trying to use the colours that are in the original image. So there's sort of those pinky undertones to it, so just boosting those a little bit by using the blushing paint. Now I'm going in and defining the eyes. I also always find, whether I'm doing magazine collage like on the left hand side or this one, by putting a little bit of white in the eyes, by adding in the catch-all, it just brings the image to life. It makes it be the focal point on the page. So if you're finding your body image is getting a little lost, or your face image is getting a little lost on your page, try adding some color to the eyes and seeing if that helps. Now, these little die cuts are also from Scrap FX, and they're just beautiful. Obviously you can get lots of stencils and stamps that are very similar that you could use the same thing. I'm sure in many videos if you've seen of mine in the past, you see me using branchy type leaves and so on, but I really like that these have sort of got those pops of colour in it. Again, a lot of the colours are similar to the ones on page, but they're just that brighter tone, so they really sort of stand out. And I'm just overlapping them, using a bit of glue to glue them down. Good thing too with these little die cuts is you can cut and trim and make sure you're just putting on the bits that you want, and any leftovers you can sort of overlap and glue down. So I've glued those all over the body. To make them sort of blend into the page a little bit, I'm also going over with my white Posca paint pen and doing really scratchy lines over the top, just to outline the leaves, and sort of get a little bit more definition into them. It also sort of pulls them into the foreground a little bit from the body and the background. So I've often found you can sort of see the lines that I'm using are really sort of scratchy. They are not definite, and you'll see that in the close-up. I find if I'm really loose with my pen work, it just makes it easier in the long run. If I tried to be really pedantic with it, if I was wobbly with a line, it would stand out to me. So I find if I'm just generally wobbly all over, it actually looks like it's a deliberate choice. And I've just done a scattering of white mark making through it, just to lead your eye across the page as well. So it gives a little bit of definition to the body of the image and around the leaves, but by leading it off the edge there, it just helps to highlight that a little bit. Then I found this quote that I want to add to the page. So what you stay focused on will grow. When I try and find a quote, I tend to find it in Pinterest. Usually as I'm going, I don't have a quote in mind. I usually find something to fit with what I've done. So I use a keyword. In this instance, I think I chose keyword grow because I had the leaves on it, and I like the focus because she just seems very laser focused with her vision. So that's where that quote came from. So I've just written it out with paint pen first, then I'm going back and widening all my letters and just filling in all the space that I've got. Usually the quotes kind of just fit where they are, or I try and get them to fit where they are. Occasionally I may have to write over my image, and if that's the case, I don't really mind. So when it comes to pages like this, although the artwork is, you know, what I enjoy doing, in all honesty, it's usually the quote at the end is this sort of summing up, and that's the bit that sort of is my focus. So if I write over my image, it doesn't necessarily worry me too much. So you can see those scratchy lines as it goes up. You can see that beautiful image from the Scrap FX and how it's all gone together. So matching those colours, adding the text and adding those die cuts down the bottom. I hope you have a go at trying something this, pushing your boat out, trying a new colour scheme, trying the ghosting technique, having a go at doing your own hand lettering. It's lots and lots of fun. Until next time, bye for now.